A phone rings. The number looks local. The caller knows your name. They say they are from your bank, the police, or a technology company. Your account is compromised. Someone in your family is in danger. And whatever you do, do not hang up. From your side, this looks like one conversation. But pull the camera backward, and the caller may be only one part of a larger machine. A lead list, a script, a supervisor, a payment team, and a dashboard tracking every call. Sometimes this does not look like a criminal gang. It looks like a sales department. Desks, headsets, managers, targets, commissions. Except the product is panic. And the customer does not know they are buying it. The work is divided into repeatable jobs. One person finds the target, another creates urgency. A closer takes over, a separate team moves the money. No one needs to understand the whole scam. They only need to finish their part. The machine starts with information, your phone number, age, bank, or evidence that you have paid before. The Federal Trade Commission calls list of previous victims sucker lists. They may record which story worked and how much was taken. The logic is brutal. Someone who paid once may pay again. The first caller may know almost nothing about you. Their job is to find out whether you can be moved to the next stage. Most people hang up. Some becomes curious. A few become worried. Those few get transferred. Then comes authority. A real institution spends years building trust. A scammer borrows it in seconds. The number looks official. The voice sounds professional. The goal is not perfection. It is plausibility. Then they manufacture emotion. Your account is under attack. You may be arrested. Someone you love needs help. Or you have won something. Or found an exclusive investment. Fear works. Excitement works. The emotion changes. The business model does not. A scammer does not need to defeat your intelligence forever, only for a few minutes, long enough that you stop asking, "Does this make sense?" and start asking, "What if it is real and I do nothing?" That is the trap. Then they close your exits. Do not hang up. Do not call your bank. Do not tell your family. Another person might recognize the story or stop the payment. So they build a temporary world with only two people inside it, you and them. Eventually, emotion becomes money. Gift cards, wire transfers, cryptocurrency, access to an account, chosen because they move quickly and may be difficult to reverse. And payment may not be the end. Another caller may later offer to recover what you lost for a fee. The first scam sells fear, the second sells hope. The caller may never touch the money. The phone system may be in one country, the workers in another, and organizers somewhere else. Some workers are also victims, recruited through fake jobs and forced to scam strangers. So what breaks the machine? Delay, verification, one other person. Hang up, find the official number yourself. Contact the family member directly. Say the situation out loud before sending anything. They want speed because speed prevents verification. They want secrecy because secrecy prevents intervention. They want emotion because emotion prevents thought. Break any one of those conditions and the funnel begins to fail. A phone number becomes a lead becomes a conversation becomes fear. Fear becomes urgency becomes payment. But the machine has one weakness. It needs to keep moving. So stop. The scam factory stops working.